Entire PV wholesale has actually gone up by 16.3%. The number of income tax returns for 2023-24 stood at a record 76.5 million, 11.7% more from the comparable period of the previous year. That means ITR filing is at an all-time high this assessment year, and the centre has confirmed that 96% of them have been verified as well. The public procurement platform of the government e-marketplace has registered nearly 8 times growth in the transaction value of services availed from MSMEs and other sellers. Procurement is expected to touch $1.5 trillion this fiscal, all thanks to the increased buying activities by different ministries and departments. Meanwhile, on his 58th birthday, happy birthday Shah Rukh Khan, he dropped off the trailer of his upcoming film Donkey. Keeping in line with the theme of the movie, it was titled Drop One. SRK celebrated his birthday with hundreds of fans lining up outside Mannat starting from midnight last night. And cricket legend Sachin Tendulkar was immortalized inside the Wankhede Stadium after his statue was unveiled in Mumbai. The sculpture captures Tendulkar in action, playing one of his iconic cricket strokes, the lofted drive. And it stands adjacent to the Sachin Tendulkar stand within the stadium, a fitting location considering Tendulkar's deep connection with the venue. And that position, that pose was also his personal choice, we're given to understand. Let's now set up debate number one on the right stand tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, is it doubling down under pressure, a force, a show of perhaps bravado by Arvind Kejriwal as he skips the Enforcement Directorate summons to actually go campaigning?
गिरफ्तार कर लोगे, लेकिन जो करोड़ों लोगों की भीड़ रामलीला मैदान में आई थी उनको कैसे गिरफ्तार करोगे?
अरविंद केजरीवाल ईडी के समन से भाग रहे हैं। अरविंद केजरीवाल सच्चाई से सामना करने से भाग रहे हैं। ही डज नॉट वांट टू फेस द ट्रुथ। कमेटी के सामने, ईडी के सामने, एजेंसी के सामने पेश नहीं होना, ये एक तरह से कहीं न कहीं डर को दिखाता है, स्वीकृति को दिखाता है कि हाँ मैंने गलती की है।
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal also wrote a letter to the Enforcement Directorate where he stated that he won't be able to join the probe as he was scheduled to campaign in poll-bound Madhya Pradesh. But along with this, he leveled some serious allegations against the investigating agency, the ED, and asked them to push or quash the summons actually. In fact, have a look at the charges made by the Aam Aadmi Party National Convener and Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. The first attack at the ED is that the summons was leaked to the BJP to malign image, is what he has said. The second attack is that the summons was issued by the Enforcement Directorate for extraneous considerations. The third attack, the summons illegal and politically motivated. The summons was sent to him at the behest of the BJP is the allegation that's being made. Attack number 5, Kejriwal claiming that the ED's Liquorgate probe appears to be a fishing and roving inquiry. He's also said that he had to push the entire summons and the proceedings post Deepavali because he's got too many responsibilities to dispel, and he is somebody who is wearing multiple hats and multitasking at the same time. But soon after Arvind Kejriwal's letter was out, the BJP came down heavily on the AAP and also Arvind Kejriwal. They reiterated their 7 questions to the ruling party of Delhi. Question number 1, why was commission to liquor barons increased? Why excise panel's recommendations were not considered? Why blacklisted companies were given a liquor license? And why was the license fee of liquor barons waived off? Question number 4. And If there was no issue with the liquor policy, then why was it rolled back as soon as a CBI investigation was recommended by the LG of Delhi? That's the question. Didn't the new liquor policy lead to cartelization? And why was rupees 30 crores allegedly given back to alleged friends of the Aam Aadmi Party after the case came to light? These are questions that stand out. Arvind Kejriwal skipping the ED summons. Is he doubling down as pressure mounts?
Hello, Moto.
Joining us this evening, author and commentator Anand Ranganathan, Ravi Srivastava, one of the founder members of the Aam Aadmi Party, now a very well-seen and well-known political analyst and commentator, Harish Khurana of the BJP. Namaste and Jai Hind, gentlemen. What kind of a game is going on, Harish Khurana? The serious charge is that the BJP got the ED summons and the letter even before the Aam Aadmi Party got it, or Arvind Kejriwal got it. And that the ED is acting on behest of the BJP.
Anand, we should understand one thing. Law is taking their own course and the law should prevail. Thing is, ED as a legally has summoned Arvind Kejriwal, and I think the answer should not be a political answer which Arvind Kejriwal has given us. It should be legal one. When the question has to be asked by ED, answer has to be given in that form only. But as usual, Arvind Kejriwal and his whole team is doing a bechara politics, which is they're into habit into. That vendetta politics is going on. Hum to kattar imandar hain ji. This will not go. This will not go in front of court. Court will see what the circumstances is. Court will see what the proofs are, and on that
so far the courts have not convicted anybody. They have said in the cases, in various cases, that there are prima facie charges for keeping some people in detention while the trial is going on and behind bars, but no conviction has happened. And Anand, so far, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has never been named as a direct accused in the case, has he?
Anand, we should understand one thing, ki, especially Manish Sisodia, Sanjay Singh and Satendra Jain at the time of applying the bail, their bail has been rejected multiple times. In fact, Manish Sisodia bail has been rejected 6 times from lower court, high court to Supreme Court. Problem is, and a serious remark and senior observation has been made by the Supreme Court couple of days back that about 338 crore rupees money trail has been found. So did Arvind Kejriwal should not be asked? He's a god. He should be not be answerable to anybody.
No, of course he is answerable to the people of Delhi. He is answerable to the law. He is answerable to. Yes.
10 seconds more. We all know that, Anand. You are a veteran journalist. We all know that without the permission of Arvind Kejriwal, not in Aam Aadmi Party, Arvind Kejriwal government mein patta bhi nahi hilta, boss. And we should understand. I mean,
but the argument applies in both cases. Either way, see, you are innocent until proven guilty as per the law. But there is a morality and probity. And what was happening under the ages? The simple question, Ravi Srivastava ji, is that what was tom-tommed as a path-breaking, revenue-generating and perhaps, and that's what's highlight, that's the summon case of what Mr. Kejriwal projected this new excise policy is. The simple question I come back to out of the 7 questions of the BJP is, why did you roll it back the moment an inquiry was announced? If everything was above board.
Anand, I'll take 10 seconds to inform you. I am joining you from your Bangalore studio at the moment.
Ji.
And Ravi Dhawan, the excise commissioner, he had drafted the excise policy for the state of Karnataka, which is in implementation here. I'll tell you what a beautiful swanky shops here of the liquor, and the people go freely, they get it. Unlike the thekas which were run by the BJP in Delhi, where there used to be law and order problem every day, under barricaded rooms they were selling, doing the black and making money out of it. So they are worried because that money has now gone out of the way. And here, everyone can go, even women can go, they can enjoy, they can taste very safely and wonderfully.
Correct.
Anyway, that leave aside. as far as the policy is concerned, policy making is not within the purview of the court. The policy making is in the preview of the executive, which was drafted by the government of Delhi and the cabinet. Honorable LG of that time had approved it, and then it was implemented. Now, what I want to tell you is that this no conviction, rather forget conviction, not even an iota of evidence has been found yet. Honorable Supreme Court, I respect Supreme Court, but just 18 days before, on 12th of October, Honorable Supreme Court makes the observation that there is no charge. How can you fasten the guilt on Manish Sisodia?
But why is Mr. Sisodia still behind bars, and why? No, sir. You can choose the observations and the orders and read certain passages. But
Raviji, the Honorable Court.
Raviji, if the policy, my simple question,
that bail has been denied.
Raviji, you have not answered that same question again. If the policy was a fantastic policy, why did you roll it back? If the policy was not wrong, why did you roll it back? And are you sure that the LG gave full compliance and full okay to this one? Because it was the LG himself who raised questions about it and said that there needs to be an inquiry because there seems to be aji-baji. If there was nothing wrong, why did you roll it back? This question, nobody has been able to convincingly answer from within the Aam Aadmi Party. Agree, disagree, Mr. Ravi Srivastava?
Once an inquiry was instituted, the complaint was made, the policy was withdrawn. It was withdrawn not forever. It is just Aam Aadmi Party wants that let the whole thing be clarified before the Honorable Court, before the public at large, and they will, if everything goes well, the policy will be implemented again.
You did not say
there is nothing basically wrong with the policy.
No, if there is nothing wrong.
Scam, 5,000 crore scam,
my point.
And now they are standing on 338 crore rupees taken by the
even if
dealers.
you know the case of Mr. Bangaru, you know the case of Mr. Bangaru Lakshman. So be it 1 rupee, 1 lakh, be it the case of 1 rupee, 1 lakh rupees, or 338 crore rupees, or 4,000 crore rupees. Office for profit, probity, these are issues where every single, if the matter is proven, then you're corrupt. But the larger question, sir, is if there was nothing wrong with the policy, why did you roll it back? It's not a convincing answer to say we withdrew it because there was an inquiry. No, sir. Then in that case, sir, pending probity, these people should be removed and they should demit office. Then will Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal demit office saying pending till the time I am proven innocent by the courts, I will not be Chief Minister of Delhi. That's not the case, right? Right now he is saying I have done nothing wrong. Everybody is kattar imandar till proven guilty. Then the policy should also have been should have stood and continued till the time it's proven it's wrong. Anand Ranganathan, agree, disagree?
Good evening, Anand, and good evening to my fellow panelists. By the same logic of the previous panelists, if the policy was reversed because there was an inquiry, then the fact of the matter is there are major vigilance and other inquiries on Mohalla clinics. But has the Aam Aadmi Party shut down Mohalla clinics? No, but be that as it may look, let me delve into this thing because I want to deal with only facts here. But Anand, the fact is that right now Arvind Kejriwal is the fly that has settled on the fly swatter, rubbing his forelimbs with glee and living a charmed life. But for how long? I request Prime Minister Modi to quickly award Sisodia, Kejriwal and Satinder the Bharat Ratna, because it cannot be given to convicted Indians. And this looks like a race against time. No, but seriously, Kejriwal is the same man who announced himself as an Aam Aadmi. And today, he's decided that he is going to blatantly ignore the summons from a constitutional agency, a summons from a non-independent agency. Purported is still legal summons. And an Aam Aadmi respects the law of the land. Anand, is this not the same Aam Aadmi Party that arrested a Congress MLA 3 weeks ago on a case that the Supreme Court had itself squashed? And the Congress MLA was arrested based on investigations carried out by the same ED. Then AAP said, let law take its own course. And here, it is not willing to make the law take its own course, be that as it may. Let me give you the facts and facts alone. This is the Supreme Court Order 1. The excess amount of 7% commission earned by the wholesale distributors of 338 crores constitute an offence as defined under Section 7 of the POC Act. These are proceeds of crime. This figure cannot be disputed or challenged. The new excise policy was meant to give windfall gains to select few wholesale distributors who in turn had agreed to give kickbacks and bribes too. VAT and excise duty was payable separately. However, under the new policy, the VAT was reduced to a mere 1%. Why? 3. Manish Sisodia was unable to provide any rational explanation for increasing the commission from 5 to 12%. 4. Mahadev Liquor, a wholesale distributor having 20% market share, was forced to surrender their license since they were not ready to pay kickbacks. Punjab Excise Department was used
Can I
to arm
respond, please?
Now, unquote. Now to summarize,
Can I
there was
respond, please?
conspiracy
Yeah,
on
let him
after
finish.
you-
Raviji, he didn't interrupt you. Allow him to complete. Please.
Raviji, please not
Yeah,
be rattled. I
yeah.
never
I'm not
interrupt anyone.
interrupting.
Please, I won't take a more.
Yeah, sure.
Now,
Yeah.
please. Just to summarize, the fact of the matter is VAT was reduced to 1%. 7% excess commission was given, amounting to 338 crore loss to the exchequer. AAP forced a company to give up its 20% market share in favor of another company. Additionally, Anand, according to ED, Mr. Nair allegedly arranged a meeting of Indo Spirits chief with Kejriwal. Should that not be investigated through the summons? Now, also, there is prima facie violations of GNCTD Act 1991, Transaction of Business Rules 1993, Delhi Excise Act 2009 and Delhi Excise Rule 2010. There were also, quote, deliberate and gross procedural lapses, unquote, to provide post-tender undue benefits to liquor licensees. Excise Department gave a waiver of 144 crores to the licensees on a tendered license fee in gross violation of the Rule 4811B of the Delhi Excise Rules 2010. Also, Excise Department revised the formula of calculation of rates to foreign liquor without approval of competent authority. Now, the fact of the matter, finally, is it not true that Mr. Sisodia's closest aide has turned an approver? Now, all these are 17 facts. My previous panelist just gave opinions, did not give any fact. I challenge him to rebut a single of these 17 facts.
Ravi Srivastav and then Harish Khurana. Yeah, Ravi Srivastav.
I am absolutely challenging. My friend is doing only a media trial. None of these 17 things have appeared in the Honorable Supreme Court's order anywhere yet. The 2 crore charge which was made against Manish Sisodia, the court themselves said that there is no evidence of that. The 100 crore kickback which was said against the Manish Sisodia, they said it's a matter of debate. Now such conjectures and all assumptions and presumptions do not make anybody a convict or an accused. It has to be a trial. In the trial, the facts come out and the truth really comes out. My friend saying, quoting to GNCTD Act, etc., that does not amount to any charge. My friend, let the trial be there. The facts will come out. The Honorable Judge himself has said, your arguments will not stand for 2 minutes.
Correct. No. Saying a lot of things, sir. There is a lot to say. If the argument will not stand for 2 minutes, why is Mr. Sisodia back in jail and he's not got bail? In the case of Satyendra Jain, again no bail, it's jail.
No. Repeating the same question.
No, sir.
You know very well. In the PMLA Act, the onus is on the person to prove his innocence. Now he cannot prove his innocence unless the trial happens. The trial will happen, the truth will come out.
Okay. Anand Ranganathan, 30 seconds and then Harish Khurana. Yeah, we've just got more news coming through.
By that same logic, that he is refusing to acknowledge that I verbatim quoted from the Supreme Court order, my good friend Ravi Srivastava, when he's saying that, look, let us wait for the trial, why is he proclaimed all of them innocent then? He should say they are not innocent until the trial commences. Why is he saying all these charges are bogus? Why is he saying Supreme Court is bogus? Why is he saying
Sir, my simple point goes back to the same thing. If the policy was not wrong, why did you withdraw it? And did you pay back a certain crores of money? What was that amount there? The other thing is, what was the need to rush to change this policy and what was tom-tom? One claim was Kattar Imandar. Does that fall? That stand proven or failed? Second, that this is a fantastic policy. This is a path-breaking policy, highly revenue-generating policy. If that's all the case, said by the same person who said, no, now we are withdrawing it. So this volte-face, when it happens, does that not cause a trust deficit? Harish Khurana. Yes, sir. Final word. You got big news coming through. Yeah.
See, Anand, their Kattar Imandar image was gone apart when they stood to the same platform with Lalu Yadav and Tejasvi Yadav. So I'm not going to do that. Adding on to what Narasimha told Ki, C. Arvind, who is C. Arvind? He's a Manish Sisodia personal assistant. What he said? in the presence of Arvind Kejriwal at the house of CM House, he was handed over a policy in which 5% to 12% commission was being stated over there. So that means the question should be asked from Arvind Kejriwal also. Boss, this has happened, yes or no? So, I mean, if ED has summoned Kejriwal, he should respect it. But in spite of that...
Yeah, but the law allows you... The law and the ED also allows you to skip up to 3 summons before they decide. So this is the first summon and he is within his legal right as far as that is concerned. But does that show that the more the pressure builds, the more I'm going to double down, I'm going to fight this and brazen it out? Is that perhaps the strategy of the Aam Aadmi Party and Mr. Kejriwal? We'll have to wait and watch. Gentlemen, I have to cut this debate short a bit. We got a big response and news break coming through. Thank you very, very much. Now, after the chaos during the ethics panel meet, Trinamool Congress MP Mahua Moitra has written to the Lok Sabha Speaker and clearly mentioned that very personal, filthy questions were being asked to her, which was not related to the entire login issue, cash for queries issue. She stressed that even after other members opposing it, this questioning continued, for which they actually protested and thereby walked out of that meeting. Komalika now joins us with more details. So this is the defense of Ms. Mahua Moitra, and Trinamool Congress leader and minister Shashi Panja has also backed her in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems that what has happened today, Trinamool Congress is also protesting on the point that sordid questions were asked to her, personal questions were asked to her, questions which was not related to the cash for questions. All those questions were asked, and in the last paragraph of her 3-page letter to the Lok Sabha Speaker, she writes that she's willing to put a statement on affidavit immediately to the Lok Sabha Speaker as the guardian of all committees, because then she says that then she will be accused of dodging questions, which the chairman's unfortunate comment to the media. That's what she says. And also the Trinamool Congress says that it's Draupadi's Chirharan and they were all Duryodhans who were sitting in the ethics committee. These are the questions which has been raised by Trinamool Congress, and now personally she has written a 3-page letter.
Could this be seen as a strategy to try and turn the sentiment against her, especially when she is herself admitted to sharing her login and password?
See, basically what we are getting it from the sources, that the fact that they are claiming, the Trinamool Moitra with Danish Ali coming out and saying that it was Draupadi's Chirharan, definitely this is another issue which they are going to actually press hard on, that it was all personal question asked to him, not on the that's why she is
right. Mr. Danish Ali has also been on the wrong side of things in terms of the verbal wars against him and also what he has said. So both ways, and the Lok Sabha Speaker in the past has admonished certain MPs and asked them to perhaps draw the line or stay within the Lakshman Rekha. We'll see how the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla responds to this letter written by Mahua Moitra. Komalika, thank you very much. Quickly moving on, ladies and gentlemen, a team of FATF, the Financial Action Task Force, will be visiting Bharat this month to evaluate anti-money laundering laws and the financing of terrorism in our country. They are actually visiting every country and evaluating the progress of actions promised by them. The government believes that the Bharat system is by and large okay, but Pakistan was trying to bring some unrelated issues to try and put our nation into bad light and perhaps somewhere get some payback for the number of years that they have been in the FATF grey list. Pakistan is actually doing hectic lobbying with the FATF investigators to try and put Bharat under scanner on various pretexts and various narratives, false narratives or bogies, which they try to perpetrate across, and narratives that they try to set. Now let's try and get a deep dive into why is the FATF here, what is on their agenda while visiting our country, and what the government believes and what FATF commented while visiting several other nations. First up, let's take a look as to why the FATF is in Bharat. The information is exclusively accessed by CNN News 18's Group Editor Security Manoj Kumar Gupta. The FATF team is going to conduct due diligence in our country this month. And what are they going to be doing? The teams have been constituted with members from UK, Brazil, South Africa, France, Malaysia and Russia who will come and do this due diligence. The team will meet RBI, ED and Revenue Finance departments of the Government of India. They will check whether our financial systems are robust and up to the mark. Terror financing, smuggling, controlling methods, they are going to be checked. Are those systems in place? Global transparency system to be also checked by the entire team. Now, under this, the FATF in India, what is the government saying? Government is saying, we are not worried. Let's try and understand what the government is saying. The government is saying that we are not worried. Our mechanism is strong. They're also saying that the Finance Ministry has done a proper study of the systems worldwide and we've adopted the best mechanisms and the best practices have been replicated in Bharat. India is very successful in shutting down a parallel economy, and we are very confident that we will get a good thumbs up or a green signal with the FATF. Now let's take a look at the statements by the FATF into some other countries that they have visited. For example, North Korea, they're concerned by the failure to address money laundering, terror financing. Iran, action plan expired in Jan 2018 and has still not been implemented or completed. Myanmar, continued lack of progress and majority of the action items still not addressed. And with South Sudan, made limited progress across its action plan with all deadlines now expired. In Jamaica, they have expressed concern over the failure to complete its action plan, which fully expired in Jan 2022. So these are concerns that have been raised, that have been raised by the FATF. We will bring up yet another story after a very, very short break, ladies and gentlemen. This is the story of the hypocrisy of a nation that claims to be perhaps the custodian of interests within the Muslim world or Muslims across the world, but in their own backyard, they are planning to forcibly evacuate nearly 6 lakh people. Stay with us for the details.
Hello, Moto.
Corruption. That will be question number one. Point number one that Kejriwal will be asked to clarify. Point number two could be, why is it that in various conversations with the accused, for example, Mr. Nair, who's a key accused, who's an aide of Mr. Kejriwal and Mr. Sisodia, multiple witnesses have confirmed that Mr. Nair in his conversation, FaceTime conversations, have connected accused of Indospirit, Sameer Mahindru, with Mr. Kejriwal, where Arvind Kejriwal said that Nair was his man, Vijay Nair was his man. So why did he say so? Was he aware that Vijay Nair was negotiating with the South Group and promising them that in lieu of money, hundreds of crores, the policy of Delhi liquor will be tweaked? Was Mr. Kejriwal aware of that? The third thing is that some witnesses have quoted, in the case of Amandeep Dahal, another accused in this case, it has been said by the Enforcement Directorate that Arvind Kejriwal at one point said that 100 crore is required by the Aam Aadmi Party to fight the elections. Did he say this? Did this 100 crore actually get to the party coffers via the liquor policy change route? So these are questions that the ED's investigating officer wants Mr. Kejriwal to answer. There are fresh leads that have emerged from questioning of Aam Aadmi Party's Rajya Sabha MP Sanjay Singh and his aides also. Plus Arvind Kejriwal's own close, aides like Birla, like Jasmine Shah, they have been questioned and there are leads that ED has received from there as well. So they do want to know from Mr. Kejriwal as to what all did he know about the way this policy was formulated, being tweaked. What did he know about the way the cabinet note was prepared? What did he know about the South Group meeting the senior leaders of the Aam Aadmi Party? Aam Aadmi Party politically is preparing, it seems, for arrest of Arvind Kejriwal. If the Chief Minister gets arrested, who would fill in? Already Manish Sisodia and Sanjay Singh are in jail. Most of the portfolios are with Atishi and Saurabh Bhardwaj. If Mr. Kejriwal also is taken into custody, what is the way ahead for Aam Aadmi Party? The party is already making a political hue and cry. The Enforcement Directorate for now is keeping its cards very close to its chest. The Enforcement Directorate's countdown for Arvind Kejriwal has begun. The Enforcement Directorate wants to question Arvind Kejriwal in the Delhi excise policy scam. November 22nd, post 11 a.m. is the time that has been given. But will he, won't he? That suspense remains. Now, Arvind Kejriwal is scheduled to be in Madhya Pradesh, Singrauli, to address an election rally. And he could be accompanied by Bhagwat Mann, the Chief Minister of Punjab. The current schedule, as we have been told by sources, is that Bhagwant Mann is arriving in Delhi tomorrow morning, and as per the schedule, Arvind Kejriwal and Bhagwant Mann are to take a flight to Varanasi and from there onwards to Singrauli. And that is what they have informed the Enforcement Directorate, that because this is a pre-scheduled election engagement, elections are due in Madhya Pradesh on the 17th, they are campaigning for their party, both the Chief Ministers of Delhi and Punjab, and there are a lot of people who will be waiting to hear them. So on that ground, on the ground of electioneering, Arvind Kejriwal has sought more time from ED, but whether he will be given more time, whether fresh summons will be issued to him, that suspense remains. In the past also, we have seen Chief Ministers like Chief Minister of Jharkhand, Hemant Soren, not appearing on the first day of summon and asking for more time. And the ED usually under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act does give you 3 chances. But in this case, we are still waiting for a confirmation either from Amar.
Back on the right stand, ladies and gentlemen, with just fresh developments coming in on the entire Mahua Moitra and what happened within the ethics panel today. Mahua Moitra has told the panel that the ones logging into her account were merely typing assistants and that she allowed them access by giving the OTP question that was asked of Mahua. They also said, do you think, these are some of the questions, some of the questions that were asked by the ethics panel. So the charges made by Mahua Moitra that it was like a virtual Vastraharan. Now look at this. Do you think it is ethical to share your login ID and password and OTP with someone? And other questions which she was completely abrasive and said that these were personal. How many times did you go to Dubai since becoming an MP? Who paid for your hotel bills? What do you mean by travel expenses? And will you be able to bring a list of items that were given to you by Mr. Hiranandani? These are some of the questions. Payal Mehta joins us with more. Payal, you've spoken to sources who are part of the ethics panel. It's a long list of members. And does this allegation made by Ms. Mahua Moitra stand, given what you have got to understood?
Anand, the questioning, the counter, in fact, the cross-questioning had just about begun and the questions were being asked by the panel chief, Mr. Sonkar over there. Essentially because these are the details that they would have wanted. They would have wanted to find out the money trail. They would have wanted to find out the login details as well. So on one front, when Mahua Moitra said that she did not violate any ethical code, on the other side, the moment they started asking her these questions, she got really riled up and then she threatened to leave. She essentially said that he is my personal friend and you have no business to ask these questions. This is my personal matter. But obviously, this is not a personal matter, Anand. She's being investigated for a crime that the BJP complaint really mentions, that she's violated ethical rules. And the ethics committee has every right to ask her these questions, is what we are given to understand. So, it is going to be important to see how Mahua Moitra will defend this, because once she is walked out of the ethics committee meeting, she was not there as an MP, Anand. She was summoned there as a witness. So she should have acted accordingly. It's not like, any member of parliament walking out of a committee after being, unhappy about it. So let's see what really happens, because the ethics committee will now be preparing its report, and possibly just before Diwali, they'll submit the report to the Lok Sabha Speaker for his recommendation.
Now, a letter has gone to the Lok Sabha Speaker which alleges the similar cases and the shouting that was done by Ms. Mahua Moitra and also Mr. Danish Ali and some of the others who said that this was a virtual or likened it to a group of Duryodhans who are doing a Vastraharan. The members present there, Payal, Vinod Sonkar, Dr. Rajdeep Roy, Dr. Subhash Bamre, Aparajita Sarangi, Swami Sumedanand, V.D. Sharma, Preneet Kaur, Uttam Reddy, P.R. Natarajan, Mr. Vaidilingam and Girdhari Yadav. These are some of the members who are part of that panel. It's a very serious accusation that Ms. Mahua Moitra is making. Was there any question that bordered on being indecent, vile, personal, etc.?
Anand, a complaint has obviously been filed by Mahua Moitra as far as this is concerned, but one must remember that right to, in fact, even reply is also there with the other side as well. Everything that is documented in the parliamentary record is a recorded, reference which is available. So tomorrow, if Mahua Moitra decides to challenge this as well, the minutes of the meeting would have been taken by the secretariat officials. That would also be there for public to really see. That will be a lot for Mahua Moitra to really defend from there on, that why this was not justified and why this was justified. But because there was a complaint by Mr. Ajay Anand and Nishikant Dubey essentially saying that she violated parliamentary norms, the fact that they had alleged that she had actually allowed somebody else to log in into her account, even though Mahua Moitra referred to the login as a typing assistant that she was using. So these are the questions that were asked around that. And most importantly, we've just seen at the beginning of this, Anand, the fact that she allegedly moved out of the committee meeting and used abusive language against the chairman, and the chairman being an SC member of parliament is also something that the BJP is not going to let go of, and especially in this crucial election season.
Is there any merit in the accusations made by Mr. Danish Ali and Ms. Mahua Moitra? Given what you have spoken with the sources, Payal, what is their sense? What is the other side's sense?
They have come out and they've spoken to us in the public to begin with, and only after that you saw the response coming in from Mr. Sonkar. And as the chairman of the committee and understanding where the matter really came from, Mr. Sonkar and his team did not give out any information on record because it's a part of parliament record. But yes, we have been able to understand that yes, there are several offences that have been committed by Mahua Moitra, and as far as the evidence that goes, she could land up in further trouble for having walked out of a meeting. Let's see how this goes. But obviously, with Mahua Moitra filing a complaint and writing to the Lok Sabha Speaker, I'm sure Vinod Sonkar and the other BJP MPs will also do a similar thing. And possibly in the coming few days, you will see a breach of privilege notice being moved against Mahua Moitra by the BJP MPs also. A, for disrespecting the chairman, for calling him in an abusive language, which was there for many members to see, and also the fact that she walked out of a meeting where she was summoned as a witness. She was not an MP. Even earlier in the day, Anand, you remember we broke that information that she was warned very clearly by one member of the opposition itself, saying that you're a witness in the case. You're not a member of parliament. So do not overspeak or do not speak over the chairman.
Now, some of the questions, Payal, stay with us on the phone line. Let's go through some of the questions that have been asked of her. One of the questions, and this is what she told the panel, is that the ones logging into her account were mere typing assistants and she allowed them access by giving the OTP. The question was that was asked was, do you think it is ethical to share your login ID, password and OTP with someone? Then the other questions that were asked was where she was completely abrasive and said that these are personal questions. Some of the questions asked, how many times did you go to Dubai since becoming an MP? Who paid for your hotel bills? What do you mean by travel expenses? Will you be able to bring a list of items that were given to you by Mr. Hiranandani? In the last few years, how many times have you had a conversation with the approver or his team? And since the controversy appeared and the panel has summoned you, how many times have you called? These are questions that were asked, and some of those questions where the entire panel has been branded akin to Duryodhan, and the whole line of questioning to a Vasraharan by Ms. Mahua Moitra. Ladies and gentlemen, Payal, thank you for your inputs. We are moving, shifting focus completely to tell you that Bharat has sealed a place in the semi-finals of the Cricket World Cup 2023. An emphatic rout of Sri Lanka at the Wankhede. 302 runs is the margin of victory for Bharat. Sri Lanka bowled out for just 55 runs. So the 2011 champions become the first team into the semi-final of the Cricket World Cup 2023 on a day when Sachin Tendulkar was sitting in the stands watching, just as a statue to him was unveiled yesterday, on a day when the team posted 357 for 8. Sri Lanka bowled out for just 55 runs. Mohammad Shami helping himself to yet another fifer. K. Srinivas Rao was at the Wankhede with us on the phone line, our group editor sports. Srini, it didn't even go up to 100 runs. Bowled out for just 4 more from the Asia Cup final. Srini, can you hear me? He must be in the thick of all the things. Yes, Srini, what a win for India. What a win for India. Bumrah, Siraj, Shami just riding roughshod over the entire Sri Lankan batting lineup, and Jadeja helping himself to the final wicket.
Well, Indian attack is actually both different levels.
We'll try and connect with K. Srinivas Rao and also Sahil Malhotra, who are there, both of them from Cricket Next in the News18 network, who are present at the Wankhede watching the game. And clearly, much more was expected out of Sri Lanka, who are just coming off a loss to Afghanistan in their previous fixture. It was do or die for the Sri Lankans. Their Champions Trophy qualification for 2025 in jeopardy, and they're virtually knocked out of the Cricket World Cup And 7 out of 7 for India, and Team India become the first team to get into the semi-finals of the Cricket World Cup 2023. Let's listen to the fans. These are Mohammad Shami's stats for today. 5 overs, 5 wickets, 18 runs. Phenomenal. In just 3 matches, he's taken 14 wickets, ladies and gentlemen. What a phenomenal performance by Mohammad Shami. But it was Jasprit Bumrah who set the tone. He's got 1 for 8, but that wicket itself set the tone. And then Siraj came in and took 2 wickets in the first over that Mohammad Siraj bowled. Shami was on a hat-trick at one point in time. It was a decimation of the Sri Lankan batting by the Indian bowler. So well bowled Bharat is what we can say again. K. Srinivas Rao back with us. What was that Wankhede pitch suddenly when the Indian bowlers came on to bowl?
It was definitely not a very bad wicket, you know. I mean, after you saw the Sri Lankan innings, it looked like, you know, it was kind of looking at a two-faced wicket into making. You know, you thought batting would be extremely difficult, but this Sri Lankan lineup just catapulted from the first over itself. I think mentally they had given up. The moment India crossed 350 runs, mentally I think the opposition had given up. So, you know, I think it showed right from the beginning when they came to the crease, the intent to just stand there was not around. And I think with the kind of attack that India has at its disposal, we just ate into it further.
India was 2 for 3 against Australia at the Asia Cup. There was a different response. Sri Lanka was 2 for 2 here at the Cricket World Cup. A very different response. Was it purely because of the pressure and the aura that the likes of Bumrah and Siraj built at the top, and then Shami follows through with an act which is nothing short of a masterpiece, Srini?
A combination, Anand, of too many things. You know, if we go to see in Chennai when we survived, it was our batting was a talking point, and very clearly we had the arsenal. It was a lower target. You know, we had arsenal to stand there and deliver, which is what we did, and our batsmen should have a lot of responsibility.
Against Australia, I stand corrected.
But here, what you are watching, this decimation, you're looking at the finest ever attack that India has ever presented at the World Cup. You know, this attack is next level bowling. You know, kind of the 3 players you're looking at is I don't think any team anywhere in the world and across any form is looking at an attack this potent right now. And to unleash an attack like this on a depleted Sri Lankan side, already under the burden of 350 plus runs, you know, this was not going to go anywhere. And then you lose a wicket right in the first over, first ball, and then you're gone. You know, mentally it's a big scar, and I'm very naturally they couldn't recover out of it.
No, Kushal Mendes fails, Asalanka fails, Angelo Matthews gets to double figures, but then he's also not able to score runs. 5 of the Sri Lankan batters out for a duck. This is a repeat of the Asia Cup final. Are Sri Lanka so scarred, or have you just seen India up their game, batting and bowling? For a pitch like this, which the Sri Lankans struggled, the Indian batsmen and India batting first put up 357. So what then talks about the class of Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli, and of course Shreyas Iyer?
See, the batting, where batting is concerned, you know, for Sri Lanka, for India, it was a personal high that they wanted, you know, going into the more important matches. They have to face South Africa next, then they are heading to the semi-final, and God forbid we play the semi-final here at the same venue against a team like Australia. I mean, we'll need a big appetite. So it was important to use this opportunity to whet that appetite, you know, try and see how many runs you could put on board batting first. I still think they could have gone beyond 350 plus. They could have gone beyond 375 had, you know, some quick dismissals not happened. That, you know, we can keep the discussion to another day. But so far, India's story in the World Cup has not been about the batters. It's
Yes.
been about the bowlers,
Yeah.
and once again today we realize why it is so much about these bowlers.
When
We're
India,
looking at the
when
finest
India
attack.
bowls first, they keep the opposition inside of 300, and when they are actually defending a total, even against England, we did not get a very big score, but then they bundled England out inside 130 runs. So that's the class of our bowling this time around. Arguably, perhaps the best ever in recent times, at least since the 2011 Cricket World Cup. Over the last 4 World Cups, this perhaps is our best bowling lineup at the world stage at a multilateral tournament. Well bowled Bharat is what we'll say, and congratulations to Team India for making it to the semi-finals of the Cricket World Cup 2023. Moving away from cricket and shifting focus back to the Israel-Hamas conflict, we're in conversation with Gideon Sa'ar, member of the War Cabinet of the Unity Government currently and a former Deputy Prime Minister of Israel. Listen in. Joining us now is Mr. Gideon Sa'ar, the former Deputy Prime Minister of Israel and currently a Minister without portfolio in the Unity Government. Mr. Gideon, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for speaking with us. Let me first understand from you.
Thank you for inviting.
Nearly 27 days into this war against the Hamas, how would you assess the current situation?
Right now, we are operating in Gaza Strip for already 5 days. It's very tough battles there. The terrorists are hiding among houses, civilian population as a human shield. We have significant achievements there. Killing the terrorists, taking over territory, and also dealing with tunnels they dig underneath the ground. But of course, we pay a heavy price. We have casualties among our soldiers, and that's a heavy price we have to pay in a war with these monsters.
One of the allegations with the strike in Birla is that you are targeting refugee areas. You are targeting areas with the civilian population. And you've been accused of war crimes. How would you want to respond to that?
That's a lie. The contrary is correct. We asked time and again the civilian population in the north to evacuate to the southern part of the Strip in order to protect itself. And in order to protect itself, you know, it's something in the international law, the laws of war, is evacuating population for the sake of its peace, of its safety. And this is what we did. Unfortunately, Hamas fought in order to, or try to avoid from people to go south. IDF is handling the war and conducting the war as always according to the international law. We have jurists that all the time is working with the commanders, and we never target civilian population. Of course, one cannot deny that when is a war and there is and they fight and using the terrorists themselves using civilian population as a human shield, sometimes you have casualties, but we never target civilians.
Hamas is claiming that in the IDF strikes, hostages have been killed. 5 foreign hostages have been killed. How would you want to respond to that?
First of all, Hamas is using, after they kidnap babies, elderly people, women, they torture them, they rape them, they do terrible war crimes. After that, they're trying to use our hostages for a psychological war in order to hurt the Israeli society. We call them and we call the international community to act, to unconditional release those hostages who are civilians and shouldn't be in the hands of this monster.
One of the objectives we are given to understand is freeing up Salah al-Din, the main highway, which is about 45 kilometers. What's the objective there? Because the idea.
Sorry, I didn't get the question right.
The Salah al-Din highway inside the Gaza Strip, the main arterial road, is it an objective to secure that highway? Because the IDF has posted audios of Gazan civilians saying Hamas are blocking that highway, they're not allowing evacuation. So what is the IDF strategy there?
Frankly, I don't know the names of the roads in Gaza Strip, and I cannot comment on a certain road in Gaza Strip. I can say only one thing. We called the civilian population in the territories we are acting now, in the northern part of Gaza Strip, to go down to the southern part of Gaza Strip. And we tell it time and again in order to protect this civilian population. We in a way, we discover the territory we will act, but in order to protect this civilian population. So we are doing our utmost in order to protect civilians who are not involved in terrorism.
Where do you see this going? What happens next? Destroying the Hamas infrastructure is an objective, but is it also to try and reduce the Hamas's presence on the Gaza Strip, narrow the Gaza area itself?
No, what our objective, as we defined it in our security cabinet, is to destroy the military and the governing powers of Hamas, also military capabilities of Islamic Jihad in Gaza Strip. This is the goal. And of course, we want to remove the threat, the military threat, from our citizens. So while we are speaking about territories, we are not intent to have Gaza Strip as part of our country. As you know, we evacuated Gaza Strip totally 2005. Yes. We removed all our citizens from there and all military presence, including graves. We took the graves also with us. So we don't have any intentions of that kind, but we want to make it safe. We want the people that were massacred, their families in October 7, to come back to their villages. And we need to have security buffer zones near our borders in the northern part of Gaza Strip, in the eastern part of Gaza Strip, where no one will be able to be close to the fence and to try to enter to our sovereign territory. And this is what we will do, but it's what I call security buffer zones.
My final two questions. Your reaction on the UN Security Council resolution, or the UN resolution, the way it was worded. Do you believe the position that's been taken is adverse to Israeli interests, or does it actually consider Israeli interests?
I want to strongly condemn the Secretary General words, because it's total misleading. We know that we totally evacuated Gaza Strip 18 years ago. It could have been today a paradise, but they decided to not to build, not to invest in education or in health or in infrastructure, but in missiles and in war machine in order to threaten our lives. And ever since we left the Gaza Strip, Palestinian terrorism from there only became bigger and bigger, until October 7, when it was a barbaric attack on our citizens.
My final question has two parts, Mr. Gideon Saar. One is, how would you see India's position vis-a-vis the Israel-Hamas conflict, the position that we as a country have taken? And the second part is, are you an advocate of a two-state solution, like former Prime Ministers Ehud Olmert and Ehud Barak?
First of all, I want to praise the statement of Prime Minister of India, who supported Israel after the attack. We appreciate that. With regard to the two-state solution, one must understand Israel should be very careful, because we learned from our history that every time we withdrew from a territory, bilaterally in the Oslo agreements, unilaterally in Gaza Strip, terrorist elements take over on the territory and use it as a basis of aggression against Israel. So even those who theoretically support the idea of a Palestinian state, which I never supported, but even those who support that idea in Israel say today the circumstances are not those who allow you to go forward with this kind of policy.
So is the end near in sight, or do you see it stretching beyond the 50-day war?
We still have a lot of work to do in order to achieve the goals and the objectives of the war, and we will continue to do it decisively until we will reach it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting.
Co-powered by Enforcement Directorate to tell us clearly if Arvind Kejriwal will ultimately not appear before the Enforcement Directorate on November 2nd post 11 a.m. Now, why does ED really want to question Arvind Kejriwal? The questioning is likely on three fronts. This is the first time he'll appear before the ED. Earlier in April this year, he had answered questions of Central Bureau of Investigation in the same case. But ED wants to have Kejriwal to answer three-point questionnaire. Number one, is the Aam Aadmi Party the real beneficiary of the liquor policy scam? That is the charge that the ED has made in the Supreme Court also during the bail hearing of Manish Sisodia. They have even said that we are legally looking at the option of making Aam Aadmi Party a party in the charge sheet, because the ultimate beneficiary, the proceeds of the crime went into the party coffer, and that was utilized allegedly to fight the elections in Goa and perhaps in Punjab also. So the first question for Kejriwal would be, is he aware that the party of which he is the national convener, that party's coffers were receiving ill-gotten money from this alleged corruption? That will be question number one, point number one that Kejriwal will be asked to clarify. Point number two could be, why is it that in various conversations with the accused, for example, Mr. Nair, who's a key accused, who's an aide of Mr. Kejriwal and Mr. Sisodia, multiple witnesses have confirmed that Mr. Nair in his conversation, FaceTime conversations, have connected accused of Indospirit, Samir Mahindru, with Mr. Kejriwal, where Arvind Kejriwal said that Nair was his man, Vijay Nair was his man. So why did he say so? Was he aware that Vijay Nair was negotiating with the South Group and promising them that in lieu of money, hundreds of crores, the policy of Delhi liquor will be tweaked? Was Mr. Kejriwal aware of that? The third thing is that some witnesses have quoted, in the case of Amandeep Dahal, another accused in this case, it has been said by the Enforcement Directorate that Arvind Kejriwal at one point said that 100 crore is required by the Aam Aadmi Party to fight the elections. Did he say this? Did this 100 crore actually get to the party coffers via the liquor policy change route? So these are questions that the ED's investigating officer wants Mr. Kejriwal to answer. There are fresh leads that have emerged from questioning of Aam Aadmi Party's Rajya Sabha MP Sanjay Singh and his aides also. Plus Arvind Kejriwal's own close, aides like Biplab, like Jasmine Shah, they have been questioned, and there are leads that ED has received from there as well. So they do want to know from Mr. Kejriwal as to what all did he know about the way this policy was formulated, being tweaked. What did he know about the way the cabinet note was prepared? What did he know about the South Group meeting